Las Vegas. It is February and the air is so crisp and clean, it almost crackles. The temperature is below freezing in New York. It is raining in Los Angeles. But in Vegas it is party time as usual. On the ground floor of that monument to human indulgence called the Las Vegas Hilton, the salesmen from New Jersey and Ohio are lurching over blackjack tables, whiskey glasses in their hands. Their wives are addictively pushing quarters into the slots of the one-armed bandits. High above the casino, on the 30th floor of this giant hotel, in the Imperial Suite, the mood is somber, silent and tense. Two husky men, their custom-made shoes sunk deep in the plush carpet, grimly survey the toyland spread 400 feet below them. Like a giant explosion in a paint factory, the lights flash convulsively, stitching a patchwork of madness that seems fitting in this mecca of insanity. Normally, the one-night standers below them in the casino would have given their eye teeth to be in that lavish suite. There is champagne in the refrigerator, Dom Perignon chilled to perfection. Exotic foods are on call every minute of the day and night in a town that pays no attention to what time it is when you want to eat, whether breakfast or a 5-course feast. A few casual telephone calls can jam the suite with a who's who of the celebrity register and some of the most beautiful women in the country. But right now Robert Red West, 37, and Delbert Sonny West, 35, would have done anything to be far from that suite. Anywhere. 100 times before in that same suite, it had been different. They had enjoyed the parties, the celebrities, the pretty women, the booze, the laughs. From time to time, they allowed themselves a rare feeling of smug self-satisfaction. It wasn't a bad life for a pair of hicks from Memphis, Tennessee, whose only ambition when they left school had been to land a steady job. It hadn't been bad at all going to opening nights, rubbing shoulders with millionaires and movie stars, men who slapped them on the back, bought them drinks, called them by their first names. It is different now. Very different. It is 3 a.m., February 19, 1973, and the party is over. The champagne stays in the refrigerator. Sonny and Red settle for beer. There are no calls to pretty girls or movie stars. As the two lift the cans of beer to their lips, their casual jackets hang open, and the tool of their trade peeks out from the leather holster each wears on the left side of his chest. A .38 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver. They are crack shots. They are bodyguards to one of the most valuable human properties of the 20th century. They stand silent, avoiding each other's eyes. Talk will only make it worse. It has been a bad night. The adrenaline pumps through their temples. Red and Sonny, who know too well the man propped up in a king-size bed in the master bedroom, realize the silence will end very soon, and the night is going to get a lot worse. Minutes, normally irrelevant in a town where the casino's band clocks, tick away painfully. Then the summons comes. The voice bellows from the bedroom. Sonny? Red? Sonny? Red? You all there? Sonny clangs the beer can down on the custom-made bar. Yes, boss, here. Red chimes in, coming in. They move quickly. In the massive bedroom, which is carpeted in lush green, stands a split-level platform. On the platform is a huge bed, covered in dark green corduroy. It is a regal room. Kings, queens, presidents and prime ministers have slept in this bed. The occupant can survey the domain of the bedroom and the panoramic view of the city below. A man lies in this bed, propped up by 4 puffy pillows. Soft lights from the ceiling bathe the bed in an aura reserved only for supreme beings. The man is dressed in expensive, handmade white silk pajamas. Draped across the chairs are glistening, gem-studded jumpsuits. A long-limbed honey blonde sits on the corner of the bed. Her clothes speak of classy boutiques where the patrons ignore price tags. She is very beautiful. But there the elegance ends. The man in bed is disturbed, very disturbed. His eyes are heavy-lidded and bloodshot. Sweat glistens from the pores of his face and forehead, as if he were suffering a cruel attack of malaria. The blonde darts her beautiful eyes nervously, first to Red, then to Sonny. Red avoids her look and stares at the ceiling, only to realize the scene is reflected there in a large mirror. Sluggishly, the man pulls himself up from the pillows. He leans forward and crosses his legs, yoga fashion. When he speaks, the words are thick, merging into one another. Come here, Sonny, the man says softly. Come here, Sonny. Sonny mounts the platform and kneels at the bedside. The Smith & Wesson prods into his left breast as he leans across the bed to be closer to the man. The man extends his hands to Sonny, and Sonny reaches out to hold them. The man's grip is clammy, the nails sink into Sonny's palms. Look into my eyes, Sonny, look into my eyes. The words tumble out in a quiet, tired monotone. The man has to die. You know the man has to die, the son of a bitch must go. You know it, Sonny, you know it. There is too much pain in me and he did it. Do you hear me? I am right. You know I'm right. Mike Stone has to die. You will do it for me, kill the son of a bitch, Sonny, I can count on you. I know I can. The bends of perspiration are now rolling down the man's face and into the white silk pajamas. The voice is striking the edge of hysteria. Tears flash in the eyes of Sonny West, a 6'2" ox of a man who has never said no to a fight in his life and never lost one he has said yes to. Sonny is pleading, "No, boss, let's forget that talk. Boss, I know he has caused you pain, but you can't talk like that. It ain't right, it just ain't right." The man is repeating over and over, "Mike Stone must die, he must die. You will do it for me, you must. He has no right to live." There are books on religion and the occult spread on the bed in front of the man. He sweeps back the covers and they fall on the floor. He rolls out of bed and lurches past the chairs where the beautiful clothes of a star are draped. He brushes past them, and they fall on the floor. He is a driven man now, muttering to himself, "He's gotta go." Carelessly he swings open a giant closet door. Inside more outfits glisten. The beautiful honey blonde is losing her cool. There is desperation on her face. What's the matter with him? Can't somebody do something? Will somebody tell me what's happened? Calm him down, for God's sake. What's wrong? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Sonny looks like a little boy pleading with someone he loves dearly not to jump off a cliff. The man stumbles into the closet, knocking aside the finery inside. He is looking for something. He grabs at a long bulky object. Sonny West knows what it is, and he can feel his heart hit his stomach. Red West feels the back of his neck crawl. "Oh, Lordy," he whispers to himself. "Oh, Lordy." The man staggers back from inside the closet gripping a gray-green M16 rifle. Sonny springs to his feet and backs toward the door. The man moves toward him and presses the gun into his hand. Sonny looks at it as if he were holding a rattlesnake. "Jesus Christ, boss, no, not that. Please don't." The man in pajamas abandons his insistent monotone. "Doesn't anyone understand? Oh, God, why can't anyone understand? Why can't you all understand why this man must die?" He leaps drunkenly on the bed. He is now jumping up and down. He turns to face the wall. He tries literally to climb the wall, his nails digging into the surface to get a hold, his legs trying to get an impossible grip. "He has hurt me so much, you all know that. He has broken up my family. He has taken my wife away from me. He has destroyed everything and hurt me so much and nobody cares. He is the one who has done it all." Sonny backs away gripping the M16. There are tears glistening in his eyes. Big Red is choked with emotion. The man continues to try to negotiate the bedroom wall. The honey blonde is pleading, "Baby, don't, honey, don't, please don't." Sonny slowly walks backwards out of the room, holding the M16. Tears stream down his face. The man in pajamas doesn't know he's gone. Sonny turns and throws the M16 into a wastebasket in the hallway, then walks into the sitting room. Another man has just come into the suite. His name is Lamar Fike, a normally jolly, 300-pound Texan who is now looking worried. He collapses into a chair and hefts his cowboy-booted feet onto a table. Lamar Fike is like a member of the family to Red and Sonny. He knows there is a bad scene inside. Sonny answers before the question is asked, "Lamar, it's awful. You know what he wants me to do? He wants me to kill Mike Stone. He was in there trying to hypnotize me. He put that M16 in my hands and told me to go out and waste Mike Stone, just blow him away." Lamar looks up, his face full of sympathy, and addresses Sonny with his rarely used Christian name, "Delbert, cousin, it's gonna be a long, awful night." Sonny replies solemnly, "No, it's gonna last longer than a night. Not just one night. This is gonna last for a long time. And I don't know what to do." Elvis Presley was long past caring about Sonny's rare show of disobedience. He was not in this world, as Sonny and Lamar glumly reviewed the seriousness of what they were faced with. Red West and the long-limbed blonde, Linda Thompson, a former Miss Tennessee beauty queen. Southern belle and girlfriend to Presley, tried to calm him in the bedroom. Their attempts were useless. Red remembers, there was just Linda, me and E, which we called him, in there alone. I was damned if I knew what to do. I had seen him like this before but never as bad. Linda was as nervous as a cat. I must confess I was pretty emotional too. It's very difficult to see someone you love flip out like that. Linda was the first to act. She called one of Presley's doctors, Elias Ghanem, a genial, soft-spoken Lebanese who was on 24-hour call whenever Presley was in Las Vegas. Dr. Ghanem told Linda he was on his way. He would give Presley a shot to calm him down. Sonny had had the presence of mind to walk out of the bedroom. Red was scared to leave, in case Presley did something drastic. There was no telling what he might do in the state, he said. Presley turned to Red and weaved across the room toward him. He repeated the chant, "God damn it, you know he has to die. Red, find someone. Somebody to wipe him out. I want the son of a bitch dead. Make some calls. Find someone. I could find a hitman in 10 seconds. You can do it. Just do it. This man, Mike Stone, has caused me too much suffering." Those words had frightened everyone in the room, but they lay especially heavy on Red's mind. Red and Sonny are in many ways very much us. Both are tough, Southern boys. But in other ways they are different. "Bonnie and I are closer than most cousins," says Red. "We grew up like brothers. His daddy bought my daddy of a farm where he worked my granddaddy used to whip up on my dad, and Sonny's dad just got him away from there. They were both a pair of wild men and we sort of grew up in their shadow, so we are very close, but when it came to our reactions to it there was a difference. Sonny sure as hell loved the man very much. But when it came to me, it was even more than that. Elvis had a kind of hold over me, a hold that I even feel today, even after all that has happened. Elvis could bring out the best in me, and be sure as hell could bring out the worst in me. He could really change my moods. If he gave me a hard time, I would get angry and then take it out on someone else. It was something I find difficult to explain, but it's there. Sonny rejected Presley's pleas to kill Mike Stone with horror, but they lay like a festering more on Red's mind. Red's love for Elvis Presley was close to being obsessive, and his obedience matched. Red relates, man, I got to thinking, he was suffering and, well, maybe it was just this one man who was causing the suffering. It happens like that. And I got to thinking maybe it just ain't right that any one human should be responsible for another human being's suffering. I guess, what I'm saying is this. When he told me to get a hold of someone to wipe out Mike Stone, I gotta tell the truth. I was listening and, like a damn fool, I was listening hard. That night Red watched Drive. Gonna give Presley a sedative to calm him down. As Presley slipped away into sleep, Red drew a deep sigh of relief. Maybe, he thought, the talk of killing is over. Maybe tomorrow when he is calmed down, he will forget all about it. Red had seen Presley get these attacks before. Often, the next day not a word would be said, and everything of the previous night would be forgotten. But Elvis Presley did not forget. The next day when he saw Red, he was calm, but he wanted to know what Red had done about his order. Red, you made that call yet? Are you working on that thing one asked you about last night? I want it done. Red shuddered. I'm working on it, boss. I've made some calls. It's gonna take a little time. I'm working on it. Red was confused, torn between a blind loyalty to Elvis Presley and the gravity of the request. Red West had sure punched a lot of men out, but getting a hitman that wasn't his scene. Red turned to his close friend, actor Robert Conrad. He was the only guy I could open up to, says Red. Conrad, the handsome, nuggety star of Hawaiian Eye, Wild, Wild West, and Ba Ba Black Sheep, is a Hollywood veteran who has been around the track and doesn't shock easy. Red recalls, I was scared but I didn't want to let Elvis down and I didn't want to go around hiring anyone for a hit either. Listening to myself now, I must sound like a crazy man. It was crazy to even talk to Elvis about it, but I did and, well, I'm telling The Conrad spoke to Red with the calm expected of him. Look, man, don't get into it. Don't go near it. Stay well away. I've seen guys act like that before, just flip out. I've seen it as a reaction to pills or shots. Just go along with what they say and just keep putting them off until they calm down and realize what they truth are asking. He will come to his senses and will forget all about it. We hope. Red listened quietly to Conrad and came to his senses. Yeah, you're right, B.O.B. Thanks a lot, but Elvis still had not forgotten about it. He had become obsessed with this man Mike Stone. Presley, let's forget all about it. Would say to Red, hey, are you working on that thing? You made any calls? Red would always stall for time and put him off. Yeah, I'm making some calls. Sure am. Red was lying, of course. He hadn't made any calls about the hit yet. Now at that time, Elvis was playing the Hilton, Red continues, and I guess there were about 6 or maybe 7 days left of his show there. About every second day, Elvis would come on me again. He would ask what am I doing about the hit? I would just keep putting him off. Now what I did, I'm not going to make a whole lot of excuses, apart from the fact that I love the guy and just couldn't stand seeing him hurt so bad. And let me tell you he was hurting. So Red made some calls, this time for real. In Las Vegas, you can get a telephone number for a strong-arm man fairly easily. The town was founded on that sort of thing. A mob hit can be organized from there for $5,000, although no hits are to take place in Vegas itself. That's mafia policy. Red relates, look, man, believe me, anyone, a Baptist minister, can get a telephone number for that sort of thing, anywhere, anytime. Well, like a big dumbass, I got a telephone number for a hit. The price he was quoted was $10,000. Now, I didn't give anyone's name to anyone. I just called this guy and asked how much it was going to cost to be looked after. Then I told them I would call them back. On the last night of the show, Red went to Elvis with the information. I guess it must have been around February 25th or 26th. I went to him just before he was going on stage. I said to him, well, I made that call. I didn't do anything about it. But do you want me to call the guy back? Red was going to make the call from a pay telephone. He wanted Elvis to know that he hadn't let him down, but he also wanted to fuss Presley with just what he was doing. It was about 20 minutes before Presley was to go on stage. He pondered Red's question for several seconds and said, hell, just let's leave it for now. Maybe it's a bit heavy. Just let's leave it off for now. Red to this day can remember the feeling of sheer relief. That night he was so happy he went out and got drunk. Now, the point was, when Elvis asked me to do this, I wanted E to realize what he was saying. That's why I strung him along. At the same time I went as far as making a telephone call, which was just plain, dumbass crazy, but Elvis had that thing with me. But there is something here. I know some crazy asses, crazier than me, who as soon as B had asked for Mike Stone to get hit, they would have gone right out and got themselves a hitman, and before anyone realized what was going on Mike Stone would have been dead. Now, there were guys like that around him from time to time. Real strung out, nutty people. What would Red have done if Presley had said, make the call? It's a question Red doesn't like to ask himself. Dave Hebler was 35 at the time. He was a 5th degree black belt karate champion. He had not yet started to work for Elvis, that trip was yet to come. but he was one of the many of the karate fraternity that always had a place among Presley's circle of friends. He was driving Presley in a Mercedes up to his mansion on Monteval Road in Beverly Hills. They were talking. Hebler had just split with his wife. He recalls, Elvis had just come back from the Vegas trip, so guess it must have been about March of 1973. I had heard a lot of talk among the boys about the night Elvis had asked to have Mike Stone hit. Elvis and I had built up a rapport. We both shared the experience of having split with our wives. We sort of talked about it on a common ground, the problems you go through, the way you miss the kids, all that sort of stuff. But I got the distinct impression that the conversation was leading up to something about Mike Stone. Dave Hebler is one of the most dedicated karate talents in the country. From his involvement in the art, Dave knew Mike Stone very well. Stone, for his 180 pounds, is one of the most furious karate experts in the United States. He is a quiet, good-looking young man from Hawaii. Of 90 top-class karate matches, he had not lost a single fight. He looked after his body at all times and was well liked in the Los Angeles karate circle. He made a modest living as an instructor, which suited his modest habits. Elvis knew that Mike Stone and Dave Hebler knew each other well. Dave recalls, that talk about hitting Mike Stone was pretty disturbing. I did not know Elvis then like I do now, and I was sort of disappointed that he could think in those terms. First up, knowing Red and Sonny, I knew they had quite a bit of respect for Mike Stone. They didn't want to get mixed up in that rubbish. From what they knew of Stone, they liked the guy. Secondly, let's face it, that kind of talk is pretty heavy stuff, even for guys like us who have been around a bit. Just because things don't fall your way, you don't go asking about hiring a hitman, for God's sake. And thirdly, the whole thing could have got very nasty. Mike Stone is a pretty quiet guy, but, believe me, if he had heard a word about this shit going around, he could have turned into a very bad dude. He is the kind of guy who would say, man, if you're looking for me, well here I am. And if that happened, there is no question in my mind that Mike Stone could have ripped Elvis apart. Of course, Dave Hebler had known the problem. He knew that Mike Stone was the man who took Priscilla Presley from Elvis Presley. She had been a caged canary for too long. She had longed for a normal life, around normal people doing normal things. She had found it in a darkly handsome karate instructor. Dave knew the situation very well. In fact, a few days before Elvis tried to draw him into this conversation about Mike Stone, Dave had been talking to Mike Stone and Priscilla at Orange Coast College in Westminster, Orange County. A karate tournament. Priscilla, the beautiful little army brat who for more than a decade had one of the world's most glamorous fortunes at her fingertips, was dressed simply in a pair of jeans and a blouse. She was giggling and laughing like a cheerleader at her first football game. She was standing at the door of the tournament stamping the hands of paying customers who came in. She was very sweet and so was Mike. Very, very natural, Dave recalls. So this was Priscilla Presley and here she is stamping hands at her boyfriend's tournament. She was just helping out her struggling karate instructor boyfriend, who I guess in those days in a good week would have been making $250. Maybe that was what bugged Elvis so much. If she had run off with someone like Frank Sinatra maybe, somehow that would have erased the hurt ego. I don't know. But a $250 a week karate instructor, that must have hurt. Red West believes that Dave is only partly right. There is no doubt that his ego was very badly hurt. It happened right before our eyes. We knew it was going on when he didn't even know. Now I don't blame her for leaving Elvis. She had a life that no normal woman could put up with. But I do know he loved that woman. Even today he would never have a word said against her. He always told me, I will always have a love for Priscilla. In fact, deep down, I believe that Priscilla was only one of two people he ever really did love in his whole life. He didn't love us. We thought he did. But he did love that woman Priscilla.